If you intend driving this pass, it's important to watch Part 1 first, as it contains important information as well as the Google Earth orientation clips. Part 2 on the Studers Pass features the lower section of the pass from the 13th to the 23rd kilometer. After the fairly level middle plateau section, the road now begins descending in earnest as it swings through a wide left-hand bend towards an obvious side ravine. At the 13.4 kilometer point, there's a very sharp right-hand bend where you'll need to drop your speed right down to 20 kilometers per hour. The road then drops sharply into another left-hand bend, and within 300 meters you'll arrive at the only true hairpin bend on this pass at the 13.8 kilometer point. After the hairpin, the direction changes into the southwest for the next kilometer as the road skirts the southern side of the side stream that you crossed at the hairpin. This pass was constructed in 1933 as part of a relief works program through the Divisional Council. Namaqualand is one of the most misunderstood regions of South Africa. It extends over a vast region, including Namibia and South Africa, and extends up the west coast for over 1,000 kilometers and covers a total area of 440,000 square kilometers. It's divided by the lower course of the Orange River or the Garib River into two portions, Little Namaqualand to the south and Great Namaqualand to the north. Great Namaqualand is in the Karas region of Namibia. It is sparsely populated by the Namakwa, a Khoikhoi people who traditionally inhabited the Namaqualand region. The road now straightens out briefly as it enters the third side ravine, which is again easier and less sharp than the previous two. This happens at the 15.8 kilometer mark. Some of the more prominent towns in this area are Springbok, which is the capital of this region, as well as Kleinzeer and Kwaingnas, which are both private mining towns owned by De Beers Diamond Mines. This area is quite rich in alluvial diamonds deposited along the coast by the Orange River over the millennia. A vibrant fishing industry is found along this stretch of the South African west coast, especially in Port Nolloth, the major resort town of Namaqualand, and Honderklipbaai, called such because of a large boulder outside the town, which when viewed correctly looks vaguely like a dog sitting down. Since the 19th century, copper has been mined at Springbok and its surrounding towns, whilst a large mine extracting copper, lead, zinc and silver is located at Aggeneys, 110 kilometers further inland. Namaqualand has become quite popular with local and international tourists during early springtime, when for a short period this normally arid region becomes covered with a kaleidoscope of color during the flowering season. This is known throughout South Africa as the Namaqualand daisy season, when orange and white daisies, as well as hundreds of other flowering species, spring up from a previously barren landscape. A part of Little Namaqualand, known as the Richtersveld, is now a national park and a World Heritage Site, whilst the often visited Namakwa National Park and the Gugab Nature Reserve are located short distances from Kamiskroon and Springbok respectively. As a region, it has one of the highest percentages of Afrikaans speakers in the world, with over 95% of the population speaking the Afrikaans language. The original Kuku language of the Nama people, with its intricate system of click sounds, also still survives in certain remote areas. Simon van der Stel, as governor of the Cape of Good Hope, discovered the rich copper deposits of Namaqualand during 1685, although long before any ship docked at Table Bay, the local Nama people had fine-tuned the art of smelting copper and using it for domestic and decorative uses. Copper and diamond mining brought a diversity of people to the area and thus created economic stability. In Namaqualand, the visitor will find indescribable treasures amongst the wide selection of remarkable fauna and flora. At the 14.8 kilometer point, there's another sharp left-hand bend of over 90 degrees, which changes the heading into the southeast as the descent continues towards a second side ravine, but this one is not as bad as the first one, as the road swings through an open hairpin of 150 degrees at the 15.2 kilometer point. If you're in this area, a visit to the Namaqualand National Park is a must. Every turn in the road paints an unforgettable picture. Valleys filled with Namaqualand daisies and other spring flowers that pulse with sheer energy and joy. During early August and September, seemingly overnight, the dusty valleys of Namaqualand are transformed into a wonderland. With its winter rainfall, Namaqualand is home to the richest bulb flora of any arid region in the world. More than 1,000 of its estimated 3,500 species are found nowhere else on Earth. The pass ends at the 22.6 kilometer point at the confluence of two rivers.